All right, good evening, guys. Kevin Tortoise Capital. Let me turn off the. Kevin Tortoise Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for July 29th, 2024. We'll start with the sniper trade of the day. All right, so let's see what we have here. This is yesterday's close. Here's the gap down. This is the opening range 3. I think I'm on the 3s on this one. Stand by. Yeah, I think we're on the 3s. We get a breakout in the usual way. So we're going to go long here. If this gets above the previous peak of that little PSAR, that's going to be good. Standard risk. Here's our current working PSAR. That's probably going to look like that. Where would I want to get short on this thing or exit if I had to? I would just take a look at like this price level right here. You know, so even though I've got a full 1R risk box here, really, if this thing fails that far, I'm out right here just because of this. So it's got 2 or 3 bars to get going. And then I can raise my stop up to here and make this a science project. But if this doesn't go right away, if it just drifts down here, that's where I'm getting out. I would certainly have to get short here. I would think about getting short right here, but not later than here. So that's what I'm thinking about on the initial entry. You know, my inner monkey keeps putting me in these positions. I mean, there's an equally strong likelihood of this or that, right? So he just gets in. He's a monkey. I can't train him out. I don't want to trade him out of that either, because I have a fireman who knows what my initial risk is and whose job it is to get me to here. Because once I can get to there, I will have locked in that amount of a gain. And then my psychology changes because I'm no longer going to lose any money. And my little secret treasure trove of trauma is sacred and intact. You know, I avoided pain and suffering of losing $1. So those are some important psychological moments for me. If that's my 1R and I can get 1, 2, somewhere up around in here, if I can get to 2R, then if it gets past there, I'll have an exceptional move. So it's just routine management, like a fast food chain making hamburgers. And it begins with this initial psychological moment. You guys have heard this 100,000 times before, but it bears repeating. That little wedge is the key to sanity, along with re-entry. But that little no lose plus dinner for 2. It means all the world to me. So let's see what this thing does. Oh, it fails immediately. And like I said, right around the PSAR, and these little support levels, and this thing just fails. So I get out here, and that's, that amount of a loss compared to that much risk that's probably a minus 0.3. Okay, manageable. It continues to fail in that same bar. So I get short here, and now here's my wrist box. It's the same size wrist box. Sorry, that looked a little ugly. Man, my pen is, I just lost my calibration. Come on, Kenneth. There it is. So there's my standard wrist box. And now I'm hoping to see it go like that. Checker hold. That's good. I might already be willing to bring my risk from way up there and just put my stop right here so that I could lock in that little piece. When I see that the first bar in my favor like that, if I get all my risk out, that doesn't hurt my feelings whatsoever. And now you have an interesting call to make, because this thing sold off all the way to here and now reversed and came halfway back up that bar. And now what you're holding is this much. You've got 1R in hand. What are you going to do with that? You could exit there and make bank on 1R. I would ask you, what is your average win? If your average win was less than 1R, you would not be wrong in taking that 1R. If your average win was a little greater than that, but you've let it come back about half an hour from the swing low. So maybe I might just put my stop like right here if I wanted to if I wanted to see it open. And then what is it going to do? Go north or resume south? If I put my stop here, I'm going to give it back just that extra little piece and then make bank on this. Or I could just take it now and be done with it. Your choice. Neither one of those is incorrect. Guess we should have taken it, huh? I guess we shouldn't have. That's what I mean. You'll find as many right or wrong answers as you want to look. Now it's resuming, so maybe holding it was fine. And just as a point of reference, you know, if you wanted an accelerated stop, there's the skin of the dragon. That's pretty good. There's the spine of the dragon and the RL30. Here's the VWAP. As long as it never crosses the VWAP, the downward trend is still in play. That's pretty good. And then we notice that you got this last great excursion. It opened here, it went down, but then reversed and closed here. When it closes higher than that bar, I'm already ready to exit. But now the R10 reverses. That means I have to jump my stop from the PSAR all the way down to here. So I end up getting out right there. And so that's your capture. Check or hold. That's a COTA 2 continuation to the downside. Same size risk, fractional gain. Now what I want you to notice is that I end up getting long here. Why? Well, it was supposed to fail here. It did not. The PSAR has already caught up. The dragon has started to turn. This is becoming like an owl entry, or actually an SSC. So now I'm going to play, my first target's going to be back to the VWAP and then the Bollinger Band mean. Then if it clears that, then it probably can get all the way back to here to the 3-day anchored VWAP, which is this green line, right? So I've got a number of price targets on the way up that I can see. I'd probably look at this little cluster and just draw this across and say, yeah, I could get there as well. But it dropped like a stone here. So this little piece, it should go fast. So it has two or three or four short-term targets right here. But if it gets above here, it could really go fast. It just stalls. The R10 rolls over. I take half an R gain. And that was it for the day. Yeah, so that was 10-minute bars, yeah. Check or hold. All right, here's one URA. This is uranium. One of the consistently excellent things to trade according to the Frog trading value metric. Here's yesterday's close. Here's the open. Here's the OR10. Breaks out of the OR10, I'm short. Standard R10 risk or R5 risk. Makes a reversal. I take the skin of the dragon exit. One unit of risk. 2 units of reward plus 2. I missed the second and third trade of the day, but we'll take 2 and go home. Here's Tim with AMD. Yesterday's close, big gap up, standard risk. He's long. Cashes a fraction. Gets short on the PSAR flip. Standard risk. Makes 1. It rolls over. It rejects the VWAP. He takes the collapsing dragon short for 1.4. And with no overnight risk, brings in a total of 2.7 for the day. Nothing wrong with that. Hamad did some grinding in DIA for -1, but 0.3 in EWW. Misses that entry there. I like the quick reversal in cash. EWZ makes 0.1. I think we should have done better here. I think the exit should have been when this rolls over here, we should be getting out somewhere in here instead of here. Then this could be the long on the SSC. Then you end up cashing that as a winning trade instead of that as a losing trade. He's working on increasing his span of control. We missed the that one's key. This may be a span of control issue, but that's a pretty straightforward short. And then that's the perfect exit. That's the difference between getting the first entry and the second entry. This is a good continuation. I think you might have gotten it here when this whole thing rolled over and came out of the dragon. A little bit of grinding in XLK, smashes XLE for a double entry and a perfect exit. Brian gets 2.6 in the usual way on the dollar Canadian on 5-minute. Gives back on gold dollar. Missed the follow through and both of those legs, so I think premature termination there. Jonathan, nice work in here on he's on the 3-minute on EWW. Quick loss. A little slow on the collapsing dragon, but makes it all back up here, even with the bad entry. There's a re-entry here on the Kata 2. And then it's on the CD, it's late, but he does get, so even with all of that inefficiency, it's still 1.5 and an additional 0.8 as he grinds his way south on the threes on energy. So looking pretty good all across the board. Let's take a look at the daily report. I'm going to upload my Q&A session from yesterday's swing trade workshop with the guys at Ableway. There were some good top level things that I wanted to share with you. So after we get this published and posted, I'm going to add that to the video. On the 150-day look back and the 30-day look back, the 3-day has made a positive turn on the 3-day anchored VWAP. And the 5-day is flattening out, as is the 10 and the 30. So this feels like a local support, and there's an opportunity for like a Kata 2 on that one on the longer term. Dashboard 1. Still bullish volatile. This was where that we made that little bit of a recovery today. Volatility is still pointing towards sharper short-term trading. Have a buy on dip opportunity on tech and on emerging markets. So I'll be ready for tech tomorrow. Mostly quiet inside day trading on the Dow 30, still tons of goodies on the auto framer. You'll notice that a lot of the tech companies have the very favorable auto framers because tech has been hammered quite a bit. I love Tesla here. It is really working hard for the team. ETFs, some weakness in oil and energy, but still buyer's market when it comes to a lot of favorable auto framers. Auto framer data, for those of you using end of day data, can be computed from the trade framing. If you're not clear on how to do that, the foundations course is what you want. Daily squeezes, Home Depot, DuPont, and Boeing. Intel is way up there. Mid caps are way up there in terms of the good squeeze ready to break out. We've got a lot more symbols now in the fall because of this little pullback, but it's like almost an Indian summer, a second growing season. I'm looking forward to stalking the techs tomorrow. This is why we get interested in uranium, energy, Mexico. Apple has now joined the fray up here with a reasonable range percentage, but a very good consistency rating. Meanwhile, marijuana and NVIDIA continue to dominate. This is a nice little potential recovery here, holding support at the bottom of the dragon. The last time it did that, it sponsored that nice move. It spent a little time around that region, so don't be surprised if it's still a little choppy this week, but it's making a turn at Z-2. And the last time it did that, it did this. So this is really where seeds get planted that can grow to the sky later. So we got to be mindful of that opportunity and buy when it's uncomfortable is what happens. All right, let's get this published and posted, and we'll see you guys tomorrow and ready for action. Be on the lookout for an announcement for a pilot program for the emotional freedom technique. I'm working with a certified mental health clinician, Brad Reed, and we're working on getting him up to speed on trading psychology and the unique challenges that we face. He's an expert in treating trauma and psychological blockages, and we think it's has a direct payoff for traders because of the proven value of EFT for soldiers with PTSD. So be on the lookout for a notice on that. The pilot course is going to come in at 49 bucks, and it'll be normally priced at 497. So it's a chance to get the pilot at 10% in order to help us really tailor the course to what it is you need. So I want to respect the effort that you put in. If you're interested, be on the lookout in the daily announcements for the registration link. All right, take good care, and we'll see you tomorrow.